What's going on, Jake? Welcome to
What's up, Kurt? Yeah, welcome to
episode
another.
20.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to another episode of Comics That Influence. As people might know, we're making our own comic. We have all of our pages here. Check out our other channel, Turbo Pit Fighter, the making of.
It's
But
actually
in
it's not a channel. So all of our videos are on one channel, which is the Turbo Pit Fighter channel. They're
uh
just different. What would you call them categorically? Um, I
well,
don't
we have
know.
our. I would use the terminology like account. We have this big account on YouTube, and then we have these two channels. Like one is the making of Turbo Pit Fighter, one is the Commandy overviews, and the other one is the
Right,
comics that
right. Well, I just
influence.
don't want
We're
people to. I don't want people to think that they got to go to a whole nother different YouTube channel. Nobody's using account as a descriptive. So,
Yeah, maybe there's a better
but
word
this
for it,
is
but
uh, this is just a part of our making Turbo Pit Fighter comic channel. Is this comics that influence? We'll come up with some sort of categorizing of it, but this is where Jake and I talk about the comics that have been influencing us to not only become comic book artists but also maintain our love and passion for making comics. You get to go
yeah, this
first.
yeah, this is where we show off stuff that we like. You know, on some episodes, technically, we do kind of like an unveiling, and I take a gamble and I just open up a comic live and I flip through it to find out if
Right,
it influences me. But
right.
today, no, today we're gonna check out somebody really good. I have John Bolton here. Um, Looking up a bio here on fandom.com, John Bolton, born 1951, English comic book artist. He's done cover art for Dark Horse Comics, Aliens, Predators. He has done covers of novels for Bantam Books. He is the husband of Liliana Bolton, who ran Dark Horse International in the 90s. Um, Critically acclaimed, his high-quality, rich, dark painted covers have become synonymous with Dark Horse, um, along with regulars such as Dave Dorman and Arthur Suydam. Um, so here I have some comics done by Bolton, and in my mind, I've always kind of put him in the same category as Frank Brunner, guys like that. Let's take a look. I mean, this is clearly like a Frazetta inspired cover.
Oh yeah.
And when we try to break down what it is, that really gets that Frazetta look. Um, you know, one thing that has to be said is the way he uses reflective light. Like there's just like green and blue, randomly in these like muscles and these tones, and he just like throws it in there so skillfully. And as an artist, I think everybody needs to kind of consider, um, you know, the colors. Like, skin has a lot of tones in it, coming from within, and light that's projected onto it, and light that's reflected onto it from other things. Like if you're close to a shield, and the shield is lit up, you're going to get a lot of the color of the shield on your skin. Um, I mean, nobody really nails it like Frazetta, like his smoothness. I mean, this is right out of Frazetta world right here. This female character, but John Bolton's a good one. So let's dive into his Halls of Horror. I'm gonna go in order. This is number one here, where we see this Dracula-looking guy, looks just like Bela Lugosi, serving somebody. There's a cool band on the stage with the werewolf on guitar and this creature playing drums and the hunchback. So let's see what's going on here. So this came out under Eclipse Comics in 1985. This is Catherine Ironwood was the editor back then. She had a really good run, and here you can
Can
see
you move it to the right?
um,
Move your comic to the right.
like this.
Center it. Keep going.
Okay, yeah, I'm centered on mine. It's centered on mine. So here
Well,
you
not
can
that
see, like,
page. The whole, both pages, both pages.
oh, you're
Get us
trying to,
both
oh, I see.
pages. Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
so
bingo.
here you can see, really good establishing shot, really good anatomy and proportion, right? These bodies are super realistic. There's they're not skimping here on shading. It's got everything. Um, so there's this character that's approaching this paperback place. He's kind of like down on his knees, and he's uh, I don't know, he's thinking here, and looks like this vampire guy is on the attack. Um, we talk a lot about the coloring, the process, how it works. There is no coloring credit here. Oh, actually, there is down here. It says colors Tim Smith. So there is a colorist. But this doesn't look like four color separations. This looks like painted colors. I don't know. It's like right here. If you look real closely, it looks like somebody got the originals and just painted over it with like a set of watercolors or gouache or something. Some of the colors are a little unusual. Some of it looks a little patchy. I'm not thinking that the coloring is adding a lot right here. I think the coloring is very
Nah.
distracting
Yeah.
and garish. Um,
Yeah.
so not the best colors for this art. I don't think. I think the colors probably should have kept it on the flat side and monochromatic. Rather than having all these bright different colors. So you're
It,
getting into some story here. There's a lot of text and a lot of explanation. Also, one thing to notice is that the size is a little bit small. So this is like a little shrinky dink down from maybe like an English format that it might have appeared in. Um, which is weird because if it's smaller on this dimension and this dimension, well, that means you could have kicked it up larger, and you're just printing small here for some reason. You could have
yeah,
got
it's
another
weird.
5-10%. Yeah, could have got another 5-10% out of this, and blown it up. I don't know what happened there, but you know, good spot blacks here and here, right? That makes the figures look interesting, especially if there's just a lot of sitting around, talking. I'm assuming that this story is getting very juicy, and it looks like this character is kind of like supposed to be like some kind of Vincent Price looking dude, right?
Yeah.
It reminds
Yeah.
me of Lon Chaney or Vincent Price or Bela Lugosi. Here you see,
Hammer
some really
films.
right, exactly, and then some nice, shading here. Sometimes the line width are a little weird. Like they get thinner and thicker, thinner, thicker. They look thicker here, thinner here, but it basically works. He's really good with these kind of like you know, we I guess we call it Sin City, like positive and negative, lights and darks, where you're just letting the darks define things. But then when the colorist comes in, they kind of have to define and cut lines, definitive, make decisions. Where does this end? The black and white art, just let the positive part speak for itself. This is great here where the door's opening and the guy's still in shadow. Mr. Raven, I'm Angela Jones. I wrote to you about the advertisement. Oh yes, do come in. So here we got this typical like haunted house looking thing. Uh, she's already running away. She's already running away. He had gotten used to this kind of reaction, and then he looks like one of these Igor dudes. So yeah, this is a good story. I see some nudity pops in. I really like these, the wrinkles here. There's a lot of value. This kind of reminds me of like Paul Galassi a little bit. This guy's style. Um, so, this is some kind of horror story. I assume that the story is really good. I haven't read this ahead of time. You got the Wolfman coming here, and this attractive female. A lot of text on this page. But, the story's really getting intense. Angela, will you marry me? I realize my appearance and everything, but you could still love me. For hours after, Angela kept hearing Raven's proposal in her mind, and that night, it's no use, George, I just can't do it, not to him. She's sleeping with some other guy. Don't worry, just play along with him. Take the ring as an engagement present, and remember the combination when he opens the safe. We'll be rich. She's part of a plot here. I think she's even like screaming tears, but she feels bad for the guy. Honestly, he could be a lot more repulsive.
Yeah.
He's offering the ring. Um, so what happens here in this Twilight Zone ending? He's back. You did. You did it. And Angela's only reply was, "Could you still love me? Love me, love me." And she withers away. I guess that's. Oh yeah, look, this right here. This looks just like Bernie Wright's in here, doesn't it? All
Yeah.
this stuff. Yeah. So this is right around the time when all those guys are doing all those great horror, horror comics for all the indies, and they're kind of like harkening back to the great EC days with all these kind of like Twilight Zone endings. I'm not sure what's going on here with this. This page is glued a little bit weird, right? You see this? I don't know. It's um, but yeah, great stories here. These are great, just like anthology stories of the typical short story format. And human nature is what it is. There's greed and lust and all kinds of ulterior motives, and then people get what they deserve when the supernatural reveals itself. Um, but yeah, just in terms of art, so you do have a lot of writing, a lot of dialogue on this page, but I just want to point out, like Bolton is really solid with his proportions and anatomy. His bodies look very realistic, and
Photo
that's not easy to do.
references.
It could be photo references, or he could just be
Oh, most
really
definitely
good
is.
at his
Most
craft.
definitely is. Oh no, it's
Yeah,
most definitely photo
yeah,
referencing.
but does he
Yeah.
do a photo reference
It's
for
a
this and this
it's like
and this
Al
and
Williamson. Al Williamson, he just got rolls and rolls of film and just shoot and shoot and shoot, and then
yeah,
the
this
backgrounds and the settings are all made up. I would
right.
definitely say that. But for all those facial expressions and body poses and the folds in the clothing and stuff, it's he's a straight up illustrator that dips his toe into comics.
Right, right. I think they say he was a painter first,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
this
he knows his thing.
this is great stuff. I just wish the coloring would have done him justice. Like, I don't really get it. Like, they're gonna take some brown here and then some yellow on the edge and then leave it white and then
Yeah, it's one of those things that I constantly hark on is that they just mess this stuff up by
it
coloring
is.
it.
It's
It's just
totally messed up. Look, it's out of
he does
register.
so much value rendering uh black and white, scaling with, like ink washes and pencil and stuff. I mean, but you see none of it. You see it's like the Brunner
Right.
stuff. It's just like the Frank
Yep.
Brunner stuff. It's it's
Yep.
it's
You'd be better
criminal,
off.
but it just goes to show you how stupid people are in that they won't buy anything when it comes to a comic if it's not colored. I mean, it's a shame. It's just
Well,
pure
that was the
ignorance.
thinking. That was the thinking. Also,
Yeah.
something that we need to be aware of too is when you do this knockout type, sometimes it just disappears.
Yeah, you
If
got
the
to have it
black
strong. Yeah.
if the black is heavy, yeah, if the black is heavy, you have to compensate. When you're doing that, you might need a little size and width. So we should make sure that that doesn't happen to us. Here you have a lot of other colors coming in. Here you see you're out of register, so this might be the printer's fault. But if they're getting black and white art, giving it to a colorist, he's doing a full color painting of and then that gets scanned. You not only do you lose a lot of the blacks on that, but it doesn't reproduce well. Like it's really
Nah.
like hard to
Nah.
control on press, and these colors are all just exaggeratedly bright, and they all fight with each other. I'm really disappointed. Now this page is a little better because it has more of a monochrome. There's just like purples and reds here, maybe a little blue. By the way, this ad for AXA in color, I have this comic. I have one of these. I might
Yeah.
do this in an upcoming issue, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really interesting. Um, so here, the Werewolf Part Two. we're getting into chapters here, the second thing, and this guy's going through. He's in prison. There's a lot of talking. He's trying to get himself released. They won't let him out. A lot of hand wringing here. They're engaged to be married, but then here we get to the action, and midnight comes. There's a full moon, and he starts turning into this creature. This looks a little weird for me. Usually, you want to do that little black on the nose, like they do on the Lon Chaney, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and yeah, maybe this isn't as photo reference as some of his other stuff. So yeah, the more we talk about it, the more I'm just like just repulsed by this coloring. It's just I don't know if it's necessarily the colorist, but just the idea of the process and then the unpredictability of when you get on press. Look at this great artist here with all this great black and white, and then this colorist is going to come in here with his like markers. It looks like he's going to use his red and orange and yellow markers and just draw all these little shapes in here. It's like turning it over to a much less talented hand, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You're almost better off with no color.
I
So
agree.
here's our climactic ending, and the next issue goes on sale soon. But the Wolfman, he's baying at the moon. Brown doesn't really go with red, if you ask me. All these colors here in the back. So very interesting art by John Bolton, and then on down the line with production, all this bad stuff happened. Um, Ad for Eclipse Comics, The Masked Man plug in his own bi-monthly. Here's Axa again and Danielle, which is British science fiction. Those Danielle I don't know too well. And here is, look at this. Is this? Oh, I thought this was Frank Thorne for a second. Yeah, this is Joey something. Oh, Jose Ortiz. You know this guy? Saber and Melissa need you. Step right up. Jose Ortiz brings new life to Don McGregor's swashbuckler. Oh, I guess when Paul Galisi got off Saber, they gave it over
Yeah.
to Jose Ortiz. And he
Yep.
looks like a Frank Thorne clone, maybe a little bit of Howie Cheekin in there. So this was the splash for this cover. And let's just do a quicker version here of number 2. I think they're not continuing it, or are they continuing it? This, you mentioned the photo reference. This is an exact photo reference of Raquel Welch in a
Yeah, this is
poster.
actually a movie adaptation to 1 million BC.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, is that what they're
Yep.
doing here?
Yep.
Oh, okay. It doesn't say it. This is horror on the
But
on the
they're
cover.
but they're trying to give it they're like remodeling it into some sort of like horror tale. But it'll be
Right. Not
interesting to
every
see.
monster mankind fears is spawned in hell. In days gone by, when danger reigned, men walked in fear where monsters roamed. 1 million years BC, an unguessable past, long before the dawn of history, man found himself as the hunted. And this is very. Oh wow! Look at all this. This might be a little better. Um,
Now I've seen that
this
in
is
black and white, and that once again that color is just murdering it.
yeah. Well, and this looks a lot very Frazetta-ish. If you know Frazetta from his
Oh yeah,
ink and pen and ink days.
yeah,
Here it looks a little more Bolton-ish, right? It's
yeah,
pretty dark. Again, you're losing a lot of this text, unfortunately. It's a good idea to do it like this, but you have to make the text much bolder. And here, we're also adapting from a completely different format. This might have been a magazine format because you're
yeah.
losing so much on the top and bottom, but we are pushed all the way out to the sides here. So, this was necessary to get it in the standard U.S. comic format. Um, and yeah, so you have these caveman characters that are battling it out for this like fine female prize, and we have some dinosaurs coming around. Dinosaurs walk the earth at the same time as humans. Um, some of this is really small. Some of the storytelling is really little here. Um, and giant turtles. But again, like really good anatomy, really good proportions. Good drafting. Hatching, good balance of lights and darks. Not so bad with the colors here. Let me see if this is Tim Smith again. Yeah, this is Tim Smith again, but maybe they saw what happened when it came off the press and they said, hey, let's really tone down. Here you see a lot of him introducing his own hand, but let's try not to put yourself in there as much. So in part one, here's the beginning of part two where monsters roam. You don't have the majesty. Like this could have been like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs a little, but you don't have the majesty of like big splashes. It's worth it. Like it's worth it to like eliminate some of these boxes if you make this a big splash. It just catches people's eyes, in my opinion. Right. Also, some of the scales here on the lizard could have been a little better. Like a little more uniform, consistent pattern. But still great art. I mean, he is sketching all this stuff. The storytelling works. The poses, the bodies. Like I don't know how you photo reference this. Maybe you're like freeze framing a video or something. And all these scantily clad
Could be
women.
like stills from the movie.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He freeze framed the movie. Yeah. And it's just like men see these women and they just take them, right? And then they get rescued by the other man, and then you just belong to the victor, like the animal world. There's no rights. There's no bill of rights. Yeah. Then just when you think you're out of the frying pan, here comes a pterodactyl. It's going to carry her away. Big, big claws, and they're trying to like throw a spear. Yeah, so it gets really small here. It's like hard to see. I know the thing is flying away, but
Yeah, it
I
was
really
definitely
enjoy.
in a magazine. It was done for a magazine, so it was larger in the magazine, but still, then it's he's probably working twice his size, and the
It's just
shrink down
amazing
is
how
just yeah.
influential Frazetta is on so many people on
Ah,
down.
gosh, yeah, and
Right?
nobody
This
and
this
nobody is gonna top him. When it comes to
this is a
fantasy
famous.
comics.
This is a pose. This is a famous Frazetta painting right here.
That's
Right?
a sketch. It was a pen and ink sketch. It was just a
Right.
caveman running off with a girl.
Right.
And so he's
Right.
he's done his version where he's amplified it.
Right. And of course, if people haven't seen the great Ralph Bakshi movie Fire and Ice, you can see Frazetta's ideas come to life in an adaptation of 2D animation.
Yeah,
Somehow we go from the 100 million BC. Here's Tim Smith coloring, like his watercolors and everything, I guess. And then all of a sudden we're back to Vincent Price here, and we're watching a striptease.
the horror host.
The Cyclops and all the ghoulish looking spectators. And then this is interesting. She strips off her skin,
Yeah,
and she's a skeleton.
it's
That's a cool
awesome.
twist,
That's awesome.
right? And so now what happens? Now we're off and running into like a little horror tale. We see the setup. The family checks in. This guy, if this doesn't send you packing, then, then I don't know what. And then there's a whole bunch of them here. Having little choice, Sam soon found himself in the inn's grimy guest room. Within minutes, he had a visitor. Luna cooked rabbit stew for you. Dada say you eat. Luna, look, Luna, is this a practical joke dreamed up by my friends at the studio? Why, even the name Lowville is an anagram of Ghoulville, the place of ghouls. Do all people on outside wear clothes like this? We only have clothes from boxes, no clothes like yours. Outside boxes? You mean you found boxes filled with nightgowns and pajamas? Where? Boxes in ground, clothes, wood, food, all from boxes. No more boxes now, all gone. I not like others. Humgoo. I humgoo. Mother was from outside. When I born, she got into box, then dug up for great eating, all happy. Someone must come through here, Luna. People, cars. Long ago, elders set up trap. Mother and you were caught in it. No one leave here except elders. They come soon with more boxes in big motor car. Luna, listen, if you're not like them, help me get out of here. Hide there in church. They fall down. They fall down if go in there. I humgu can go in. Come help you when others not watch. Yeah, so this is also like some kind of idealized thing. She's beautiful, blonde, and you know, I guess just some kind, she's helping the guy. It's all too good to be true, right?
Always
Um,
is.
Yep. So here they're doing their ritualistic dance at night, and they're chasing her. Villagers chase me. I not go back. Dada beat me for help you. You take Luna with you? Yes, Luna, I'll take you with me. Must escape now. Elders come tonight. I use cross. It protects. Keep close and don't fall behind. And then she gets pelted with a rock here. She's knocked out. No use, her bad. Broke like when Dada hit rabbit. Leave me better. That way, I never be anything but animal to you. With a happy smile, Luna sighed deeply and died. What?
Jeez.
So, yeah, this is some crazy stuff here. Here we have the dance of the ghouls, and does it end here? And so, human being finally took his place alongside all the other monsters. I guess the guy just resigned to stay. And then here's a whole other story. Father Shandor, spawned from Hell's Pit. This is some nice stuff here. The green kind of work. It's
Yeah.
very emerald. We got the demons in the background. See, this is like Frank Brunner's wheelhouse here, right? But this is all a little small on the page. That's one complaint I have. This is a great pose here. Up face pose. All this stuff. It's just like too much at once. You can't even take it in. You need like a big splash of it to really see. And then here's a fight sequence, I guess, or whatever. This reminds me of Wrightson. Oh God, who else? There's a couple of other artists were doing stuff like this. Who am I thinking of with this character and these waves all around? It might be Brunner, but here it ends right here. So that's John Bolton for you. Um, I do think he's a really good guy. I don't know if he did too much besides these, but I could look it up briefly on his bio. Let's see. He did The House of Hammer and Warrior in Great Britain for magazines like Look In, alongside Arthur Ranson, Angus Allen, and Jim Bakey. Oh, it says Bolton came to comics casually after he graduated from East Ham Technical College, whose former alumni include Barry Windsor Smith and
Wow.
Ralph Steadman, with a degree
Wow.
in graphics and design. So he worked for the British mags. In 1981, Marvel Comics editor Ralph Macchio noticed him and called for him to work on Cull of Valusia for Epic Comics. He illustrated two Cull stories. I gotta try to find those if I can. Those look like fun. Um, and then he began working on the historical fantasy character Marada, written by Chris Claremont, published by Epic Illustrated 1 year later. There's a lot of good stuff in Epic. I don't
Oh
have too
yeah.
many Epics.
Oh yeah.
I have a bunch of heavy metals, but I don't have too many
I
Epics.
used to have the whole run.
Yeah, at one point I'm sure I had them in my hands. Another
Yeah, they
fantasy
were.
series, Black Dragon, 1985, Claremont and Bolton produced short stories about X-Men's lives for X-Men Classic. This represented the introduction of Bolton to the world of superheroes. He worked for Eclipse and Pacific, and on the novel Someplace Strange, written by Ann Nocenti in 1988. In '89, he goes to work for Dark Horse with Aliens and Aliens vs. Predator comic books. Most notably, the cover artwork for Aliens Library Edition's reissue several adaptations of horror movies. His main work from this period is his collaboration with writer Clive Barker, including the comic version of Hellraiser. In 1990, he worked on the first episode of The Books of Magic for DC, written by Neil Gaiman. And let's see, 1992, he produced an adaptation for Army of Darkness in the comics, the third entry in Sam Raimi's Evil Dead series for Dark Horse. The comic was later reprinted in the UK in Total Carnage magazine. So there's some B movies coming to comics. In 1995, Bolton produced art for the Man-Bat miniseries for DC, and he said he accepted the story because it pivoted on a villain instead of Batman, who he considered too winning a character. He also started doing artwork for Aliens that year, and he produced several Predator book covers from '97 onwards. And then it seemed like things kind of peter out. If he was born in '51, he's probably a little older, and I guess he retired. So, John Bolton, folks.
To-da. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So what I have here is called Faerie Star from 1977. Now we have this is all black and white. This is all well done. Two big names in here you're going to come across is Cerberus's Dave Sim and some Gene Day. But one of the reasons I ended up tracking this down and getting a hold of it is I have this thing for silent comics. And this story was what I wanted to hunt down. This is
Wordless Comics.
Marta Ravenhair, The Hunt. And obviously this is not done by Barry Windsor Smith, who was doing those great Conan the Barbarians, or excuse me, the Savage Sword of Conan magazine, black and white. This is Ken Rainey. But this is just a fantastic rendered and told story, which is pretty simple. Female huntress gets a stag.
I dig it.
In a room.
Yeah, this is like a whole sampling of hatching techniques and stippling techniques. Yeah. It looks like they're doing that on purpose. Like they're varying all.
Well, when it comes to comics that influence me, I keep a good stack of books off to the right of me in a case, a bookcase. And when I'm working on stuff and I kind of come into an area on a page, I'm like, I need something. I just reach over, pull something out of the middle of the stack, and then I get in here and I go, oh, okay, I have a lot of options here. I got to look at the stonework up against this wall, in this area. Even just this like clunky crosshatch, it's great against, what's happening in the hair. And it's a great reminder and a good jarring to it. Now, it's an abandoned ruins of another society. And, of course, there's some sort of ooey gooey creature making its way around. And, of course, when she fires her arrow into it, it just dissolves. So the stakes heighten and she's got to really get away. And as soon as I love these, we call them O. Henry's or Twilight Zone kind of endings. But she gets out of the temple. And as she gets out of the temple, it's all dark. But as soon as the sluggish, slimy green, whatever creature makes it into the sunlight, it dissolves. So, and then finished. So I love this.
These silent comics, like this sequence right here, this is actually a great audition material that you could give to a letterer and tell them to add
a writer first.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's right. If you want to do the Marvel method, you could definitely come in and do all the dialogue after the fact. But just the physical lettering.
I don't think it needs it. It's not a very deep story. Other than purple prose and talking in a faux English accent to give some sort of like, oh, I was in the forest of Wellenberg, and you just don't need it. I think one of the two larger faults in comic book making that people fall into for sellability, if you will, is colorizing really excellent black and white art and over talking the word and picture. I mean, the pictures are always going to have a dominance over the words, and the words should be something that really peak off of the visual sequencing. Because as a storytelling medium, it's nothing like anything. It's not like movies. It's its own beast. And I think being too wordy or describing something that's in the panel or not drawing this and writing a block of text is a fail. So I'm always
Yeah,
looking
there's
for silent stories, like what I refer to them as also Arzacs. So
right.
Mobius is Arzak is the most famous, silent working character. But he was challenging himself as a storyteller. I mean, that's the obvious part, and was just absolutely successful with it.
Yeah.
So here we have it's called The Unbeliever, written by Giovanni, and Tom Kirby is the artist, but the letterer is Dave Sim. So it's just a two
Okay.
pager. Love the brushy work. Once again, if I turn to this page and go, okay, get a little bit more brushy. Obviously, all the breaking of the square format. I love this panel right here. That we could work on the lettering a little bit, but this is just sweet. Just very,
Yeah,
very
this one you
nice.
have a lot of different panel shapes.
Mm-hmm.
That brings a little dynamism. The last sequence had like very squared up horizontal and
Mm-hmm.
verticals. This one you're popping out, you're popping panels, right?
Popping panels.
Oh,
So, Captain and the
mhm.
Sorcerer, written by Charlie Thompson, art Dave Sim. Now, pay
Right,
attention to
but that is
this
a
because this is just for a young kid Sims. This is before Cerberus. This is
this is a lift.
delicious.
That left side is a lift from a Bernie Wrightson
Oh,
pinup.
yeah.
Very
Oh,
famous
yeah.
Bernie Wrightson pinup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
but
it's a sword and sorcery.
I like the combination of spot blacks and
Yes.
shading on the faces. It's
Yes.
very good dynamic Bern
Yes.
Hogarth like
Yeah.
balance.
If you remember the first book I did, which was that, oh gosh, the jewel in the skull. Let me just run over here and pull it out because I think
You're
it's going to
seeing
be.
I mean on a page that just has a bunch of faces, it really makes sense to draw them with a lot of good black and white interplay, and so
So,
so it doesn't become boring.
so this is Cawthorn, Jim Cawthorn, which is he did the jewel in the skull, but you can see that similar, just building
Hmm.
with line and texture. I mean,
Right.
it's definitely in the air in the 70s too, because this is 70.
His
78.
dialogue balloon. That guy's dialogue balloons are very crowded, and he's also using
Yeah.
a font. But I
Yeah.
digress.
Yep. So, really great storytelling here. You can see that the master Sim is going to be definitely taking his crown in the independence when he does Cerebus. So, yeah, this was such a find.
So
It's
this
sword and
is
sorcery. It's a black and white comic. It's got Dave Sim in it. I mean, it's just,
before Dave Sim
it's,
comes into his own.
yep, yep, yep. So, and I believe, let me just double check myself here real quick. Yeah, this is California. But Sim is Canadian, and I don't know if he was spending some time in California with these guys, but there's something in the back we'll get into. But yeah, so here we are. Little epilogue. The jewel of the
Am I saying
dragon. The
like,
jewel.
wow, yeah? So here, this is like a very confident line. This kind of reminds me of Don Simpson a little
This one
on
here.
the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is not Sims. This is now another story. This is it's old and young. This is Will Migno
Oh, yeah.
Magno. You
Okay, that's a
know,
name.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
got
don't know
that.
how it's pronounced.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Mugno.
It's just Migno or something like that. Minot, I think is actually that's what it is. But this is script and art by him. He's a stone in the foundation of black and white
How,
independence.
exactly how do you spell it? Will.
Meugniot.
Right. Will Meugniot. Yeah, he's been around.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's he graduated to storyboards, film producer. He's known for his animated shows in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, so he really took off. Uh, and I guess he left comics. He did Batman, Bucky O'Hare, Captain Planet, DNA Agents, Godzilla, G.I. Joe, Johnny Quest, Jurassic Park, X-Men, Dragonlance, Ultimate Avengers, Silver Surfer, RoboCop. He was either storyboard artist or producer or director. Just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just all the biggest stuff. I knew that name, but this, is it a rare comic for him to see his stuff in comics? It's very interesting style. You know, he's very confident, and
Yeah,
you know, I don't know why it looks so much like Don Simpson, you know, to me, but just like bold outlines and popping
very well done.
panels, and you know, pretty light whites. You know, there's a little bit of shading in there, but pretty bright whites. You know, overall.
Mm-hmm. No, very
So let's
confident.
see.
Very confident.
He 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 worked for Marvel. He did, let's see, Black Widow, Marvel Team Up, Tigra, Marvel Chillers. Um, he did Modred the Mystic, and not too much actually. Uh, but he worked on a trade paperback for Essential Marvel Team Up. I guess maybe he just did covers. Yeah, not too much for Marvel, uh, but definitely a big name.
So then here we move over to the Gene Day. So art and story Gene Day, and this is called, what is it? I can't, Paper Dragon. This is spelling out Paper Dragon using the inset for paneling, lettering Dave Sim. So Dave was getting a lot of work as a letterer, but this is, look at that. Bam! Woo-hoo! That is Gene Day, baby. Look at that. It's
So
got the
Gene Day
zips and that kind
before he gets to Marvel and does
mm,
Master Kung Fu.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, just look at this. Oh my gosh. I mean, the zips. I mean, look how he just like puts that in there and then just cuts it all up, like scratch boards it, you know? But his like really good solid. This is just, oh,
Yeah, this is
such a,
early Gene Day, right? It's sci-fi.
yeah.
It's a little yeah, his you know, it's a exercise in perspective. It's a little square. I mean, he's got rounds and squares, but it's not as intricate, you know, as spaceships would be, and it's also
He's
not as
developing.
stylized. It's a little
He's
blocky, you
developing.
know. Yeah,
So,
but the other parts of the paper are great. That right hand side.
so this is by some unknowns, lettering by Dave Sim, Time's Revenge, John David Catherine, and then art by Earl Geyer. So, but just fantasy stuff: wizards, sages, demons, heroes, and then Hobo Dreamer, another story by John David Cothran, Gene Day
Mm-hmm.
art, and lettering by Dave Sim. So look at this. I mean, the
Right.
way he just constructs stuff, and the confidence in the spotting of blacks, and then working whites back into those blacks, and it's just, oh If I'm having a tough day inking and I pull out like a Gene Day, I might take the day off. I mean, it's just, I mean, he just, oh, just so wonderful, so
Yeah, he was
wonderful.
good.
Oh,
They spotlighted him and his work on Master Kung Fu on an episode of Comic Kayfabe, and they were just like agape at the way he integrated so much Chinese design, architecture, and cultural motifs into
mm-hmm.
each page. Like every spread was like so designed, right, and
Yeah,
so thought
yeah,
out. It was like
yeah.
impossible. And when Paul Gulacy left, it was a blow to the series. But Doug Mensch stayed on as a writer, so you need to get a good artist in there. And they didn't do so bad by getting Gene Day, and then I think Mike Zack took over after Gene Day, and
Yeah, yeah.
you ended up going for years and years more. So that's why Master Kung Fu is such a
Well,
great
here's
comic.
a young here. Look at this is Gene Day right here. Look how young he
Right.
is. He looks like he's like 16, man. He's got his long hair. Dave
Uh huh.
Sim, and
Uh
that
huh.
is a classic 70s portrait. This is Ken Rainey.
Yeah.
So, and then here's your Will Mignon,
Right.
Minot, Minot. I think
Mignot,
it's
obviously.
Minot, and then
Yeah,
Tom
Will
Kirby.
Meugniot, he
So,
I'm looking on the heritage. I'm looking at a heritage site. He sold. He did Howard the Duck in his Howard the Duck original art page, interior page, sold for $750 in 2021. He did the Black Terror. He did Miss Mask. He did Weird Fantasy. Oh, parody cover. Right, featuring I think Vanity, and that sold for $1,000. And his interior pages for Marvel, the Marvel team up with Spider-Man and Black Widow, story page 6 original art sold for $1,300. So that's a little bit of the value of Will Meugniot, Meugniot, however you say it. His
Minot.
Yeah, his DNA agents pages are available now for $400. That's not so much. $350. Just interior story pages, and there's a vibrant original art market out there. Robot fighting action. There's something called Anthony's comic book art. First time I'm hearing about that. Some nice pinups. Tiger Queen. Yeah, you could pick up his art pretty cheap if you're a collector. DN Agents, and then some nice pinups. Tiger Queen pinup is really good looking. Um, and I think these might be like convention drawings or something, but pretty intricate. He's good. He's a good one. This guy, Will Meugniot,
Yeah, we're
and
gonna bring more of him in. We'll have him around. He's around, so he's definitely an influencer on me. So I have plenty of work of his around, so he'll be popping up.
yeah,
But that is what I have. Fairy Star, 1977, black and white masterpiece. So, but yep, other than that, that's all I got. Another successful episode of Comics That Influence. This is episode 20, which matches our 20 Candy by Jack Kirby. So we have a playlist of all of those where we take the first 20 issues of Jack Kirby's Commandy and really do a lot of good analysis and breakdown. And I also have
well,
to
we do
say, Jake
flip
does
throughs.
some
We do flip.
wonderful reading.
Yeah.
So, but that is what I have, Jake. What do you have to let these then
That's it.
people get going?
Let's let's say goodbye and let these fine people go. But do come back next Sunday or next time and check out what we got for you. We have plenty of stuff coming up. We're looking through our collections, trying to find the good stuff, and we're bringing it all to you with some
No, some of the
explainers.
bad stuff too. I mean, Nothing's
Sometimes, yeah,
perfect.
sometimes I do Geraldo's Vault and I open it up live, and you never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes I get spanked when I do that, but it's good because you do need to go over the do's and the don'ts in comics. I think it's important to
Absolutely.
go over
No
the
one's
do's and
born
don'ts.
perfect. That would
Right.
be boring. All right,
Yep.
Jake, I will see you next Sunday, my friend.
All right, Kurt, take it easy. Bye bye.